everyone, welcome back to another episode of the F1 Debrief. Of course, the Qatar Grand Prix happened just recently, last weekend. And once again, I'm welcomed with my co-host, Alex. Welcome, Alex.
Cheers, mate. Another weekend of a lot of motorsport. How good?
How good indeed. A nice shirt, by the way, too.
Thank you. Double points.
Yeah, let's go.
How good? It's been a while, and I managed to get both cars in the points.
About time, too.
Yeah.
Even though, in saying that, we said about time last time, and we only realised that they just missed out 3 races.
Yeah, but Joe Guanyu hasn't scored points apparently since Australia.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And
so
it was well deserved for sure. About time. But of course, we also had a sprint race this weekend as well. We won't talk much about it. We'll just run through the results for that really quickly before we get into the big one. But a few interesting talking points this weekend. One, it was extremely hot, almost close to dangerous levels. I think it was 79% humidity, which is rough. Tire wear was also
plus the 30-degree heat.
Yeah, it is. You're like
tire wear was nice.
It was ridiculous, and yeah, tire wear was not very good. And the funny thing is, the ironic thing is, Pirelli announced that they're going to be continuing providing tyres for Formula 1 until the 2027, which is probably bad timing, given how crap those tyres were this weekend. And because how crap the tyres were, the FIA put a rule where drivers could only run 18 laps on a given tyre, which means we had minimum 3 stops for the Grand Prix. But before we get into everything else, what do you think of the race?
I didn't mind it. It was quite entertaining. Obviously, with the struggles that the drivers had, it was more fun for us as a spectator. Obviously, it wasn't,
especially with the aircon.
Yeah, to their liking. I personally, a lot of the drivers didn't, or Max didn't like the 3 pit stop rule. Like we don't like being forced to do pit stops, which that part I understand. However, it makes for opportunities for a change up. You know, like the pit crew have to be on it. Personally, I don't like 1-stop races. I think they're boring.
No, especially when you manage the tires and stuff.
Yeah, like Singapore, for example. Like the first half of the race, they weren't even trying really. They were just cruising. So I like the mandatory stops. The only, obviously the drivers were saying it was literally 50 laps of sprint. That they did qualifying laps the whole time.
Yeah, it was like 3 sprint races, technically.
Yeah, really. Which for them I can see is obviously, it's gonna hurt. A lot of concentration. But for us it's great. So I think that's what F1's kind of leaning towards, making it a better spectacle. So for me, I enjoyed it.
Well, they definitely did put on a show, considering despite the dangerous temperature conditions and stuff. And the good thing is next year it's actually moved to November, so hopefully it's a little bit better, because it was just ridiculous this weekend. But there was a lot of overtaking happening, and with the 3 stops, it meant that you can watch drivers push for those 18 laps on the tyre, don't have to worry about the tyre deg at all, which did put on some good racing, especially in the sprint race as well. That was quite chaotic. Had, I think, 3 safety cars in a 19-lap race, so that was pretty decent. But like you said, comparison to Singapore, it's very different. But it was definitely a massive struggle for the drivers, for sure.
It was borderline dangerous. Well, not even borderline.
Well, I said off chat that Lance Stroll fainted.
That video came out today where they did. Well, it obviously came out a while ago, but he said he fainted a few times. I'm assuming on the straight.
Yeah, on the straight, you could see his head. I think I saw on a TikTok where his head was tilted, where you could just tell. But that's just hazardous. Imagine if it was I don't even want to think about it. But
no, and personally, when they added the Qatar Grand Prix on the schedule, I was a bit skeptical about it because it was a track that they just used originally to fill in the COVID year. And even though the race was good, I do think, and the fact that it's a nighttime is a bit cooler, but still, man, I think they got to. I don't live in Qatar, so I have no idea if it's hot there all the time. I'm assuming it is in the Middle East, but I don't think they got that one quite right. They need to find it in winter. It could be winter there now. I have no idea, but it was very dangerous.
Oh, for
and
sure.
Not for the reason we think, being a dangerous sport, but health-wise, you got to put that first, I think.
Well, it was quite interesting because the first chunk of the weekend, we were actually more concerned about the tyres exploding. But once they put that rule into place, it was more about how excruciating the heat was. And it gets to a point where it's just, like, you question if it's worth it. Because you don't, motorsport is dangerous, for different reasons, but for illnesses, for causing illnesses,
for heat stroke. For heat and passing out, you don't really hear that very often.
No, and pretty much every driver, you can watch those driver interviews at the end. Everyone was knackered, and the Williams, no driver actually went to the interviews. I noticed as well.
Well, Logan Sargent was with the medical team.
Yeah, and pretty much everyone was by the end of it. I saw.
I'm not surprised.
Stroll actually went to the ambulance. Albon actually walked himself to the medical center. It was. You don't want to see it. That's for sure.
No.
But let's quickly. I'm just going to quickly dive over the sprint race results. If you do want to check out the race, you can actually go to the F1 channel and actually watch the highlights. But just going through the results here with my trusty notepad. Piastri won his first F1 race. It's counting. It might be just a sprint race, but he drove superb.
Everyone in Australia counts it.
It counts. It does count. He gets points for it too, so it counts.
It counts.
It's on the record.
Hey, I was over the moon, man.
He got a good start, and they were fast this weekend. But we'll get into the race in just a moment. Max Verstappen is second place, who also claimed his third world title that sprint race as well. So not very surprising. We did come into it knowing that would happen. But phenomenal, result.
That's all I gotta say.
That's it. Moving on. Lando Norris, P3. He got a poor start in the sprint. Russell was fourth. Fifth was Hamilton. Carlos Sainz was sixth. Seventh was Alex Albon. Eighth was Fernando Alonso. Ninth was Gasly. Bottas was 10. And then we've got Tsunoda, Leclerc, Magnussen, Guan Yu, Stroll. And then the DNFs were Hulkenberg, Ocon, Perez, Sargent, and Lawson. And what a weekend Lawson had. It was a bit of a weekend. He had his first in Formula One.
Now we're clarifying it as just a quick shout out to my fellow Alex. Albon, I didn't realize this, but in the sprint qualifying, he qualified 17th and finished 7th.
And it's not a lot of laps to catch up, sort of thing. It's not like a normal race.
I mean, it did help that 3 guys took out each other on one corner, but nevertheless, that was really good. And I know we won't gloss into it too much, but we did see the difference of soft versus medium tires. At the start, the soft tire drivers were killing it; they were gone, but then they died.
And that's what helped. That's what helped Piastri. Because I'm pretty sure he was on mediums.
He passed Russell, I think, on like 12, 13, something like that, with 5 to go, then just took off. And then by the end, Russell's tires were shot.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And Ferrari, speaking of that, they fell back. Were they on softs? I can't remember. I didn't actually look, but yeah, that explains it. But let's get into the Sunday action. So obviously Max Verstappen won. I didn't have to say that, and you could probably work that one out. He actually had a poor pit stop, 4-second pit stop. Which,
I was watching that live, which for us was at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And almost woke up the house saying, "Keep it going, like hold the wheel," because That was the worst pit stop I've seen all year from them.
It's weird seeing them
on
make a
Max's
mistake.
side, anyway.
Mm.
They ironically keep making mistakes on Checo's side, but we won't gloss into that. Conspiracy theory.
More driver error as well mixed in.
Yeah, well,
but it is Max's team.
It was interesting
like
that they did screw up, and that I was kind of hoping that Piastri would have been a bit closer, but because they had I don't know which car it was. I think it was Lando. They had a 1.8 second stop.
Yeah, it was Lando.
Yeah, that's insane.
I think that's a new record, world record.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because that was nuts.
That was crazy. They're doing so well this year, like not just
won 2/3 of the year.
Yeah, and we'll get into just talk about McLaren's now because they got second and third with Oscar ahead of Lando. What a drive from both of them. Their second consecutive podium in a row. That's what consecutive means.
They swapped around though.
Hey?
They swapped around.
Yeah, that's true. I think what helped Oscar's case was the fact that there wasn't any tire deg to worry about. Because we saw in Japan that Oscar, and he admitted that he struggled with the tire wear. But this time he didn't have to worry about it. So although in fairness, he was, I think, faster than Lando all weekend.
Yeah, well, he won the sprint, qualified in front of him twice.
And they both got track limits in quali, which explains why Lando started 10th and Oscar 6th, because they were...
yeah, that was really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because Oscar was mid-interview. I'm like,
yeah, that's right, yeah.
Can you give us your microphone back? You've been bumped.
Yeah, and then it was funny, I don't know if you saw the sprint race, his reaction was like, I'm going to wait 5 minutes and just to make sure that he's won.
Yeah.
So, you got to love his character. It's really good to see. But, so it is officially that he's second and third. So,
just if you're still wondering, just in case, 5 days later, he's thinking, oh, do I have a penalty still or not?
Yeah, well, the way
they're still going through all the track limits at the rest.
Yeah, that's it. There's quite a few, and they closed the gap to Aston Martin, ever so slightly. So if they get podiums, keep getting podiums till the end of the year, I'm sure they will get extremely close, if not overtake them. Depends on how Fernando goes, and I just say 100%. Fernando. We'll get into that. George Russell in fourth, after having a collision with his teammate on turn 1, which wasn't his fault. He was literally in the middle. It was a fantastic comeback. And he tried to do a soft tyre stint at the end to try to catch up to the McLarens, but it didn't pay off. But other than that, considering he's fourth, considering he went from dead last, he was on a charge all race, so
Mercedes had a quick car, like obviously not as quick as the Red Bulls, but they were up there with the McLarens. Well, they were in front of them at turn 1. They were second and third. So then Piastri was like, "Yep, thanks." Down the inside, the gap just opened up for him, literally.
Yeah, he was.
It was like all the cars were there, and then all of a sudden they weren't.
He was on the inter cool room, whatever you call it, before they go on the podium. Oscar was like, cheers for that, nice. Because Oscar was the clear winner. He went from I forgot to mention, he went from 6th to 2nd in one corner. So he got a really good start despite
Norris was 10th. Yeah, Norris did the same thing because he was, I think, was he third lap 1?
I think so. I think yeah, pretty sure. That McLaren was, I don't want to say, I'm not going to say the fastest car on the grid because Verstappen, but besides from him, they were just so much pace, which was great to see.
Yeah. Well, obviously they would have qualified higher, and they did have the second and third spots before the penalties came.
I wonder if the Mercs would come together if they were ahead of them. But that was bound to happen, though. We saw in Japan where they had Russell and Hamilton was having an aggressive battle, and Toto Wolff recently got a new dining table. Unfortunately, he has to get another one. But
actually, do you remember the Matt and Tommy podcast last race? They literally said that the aggressiveness between Mercedes was a bit much, and eventually it was going to come to blows.
they called it,
And lap one
yeah,
of the race, it came to blows.
that's it. And it was all Hamilton's fault. He didn't give Russell enough room, and he admitted that. So good on him for that. But hopefully, that this might calm them down for America. Who knows? But we'll see. Fifth place is Charles Leclerc. I didn't see too much of him. Again, like Japan, he was pretty much on his own, or at least I didn't see him on the TV. I think again struggled just long distance pace, similar to the sprint race. Sixth is Fernando Alonso. Decent finish, given that he was complaining about his ass being on fire. Well, that's what I've written down here. Like, he just because of how pretty much their seat's the floor with everything around his butt. He was complaining about the heat like everyone else. But what I want to talk about is his dangerous re-entry after going off. I can't remember what turn it was, but he almost made contact with Charles Leclerc. And I think he got in trouble with that. I don't know the outcome. But, not bad.
He's still there, so...
Yeah, well, that's it, yeah. But we probably got a slap on the wrist or something.
Yeah, to me, it kind of seemed like he joined on the straight. He did join full power, because there was a bit of another layout of the track. And then he just came straight on at full speed.
Side off.
It was kind of hard to tell from the first angle, because the angle was quite low. Then I missed the other replay. But, he's still in sixth, so he must have been fine.
But, not much to talk about with him, but decent finish. Seventh, Esteban Ocon. Decent drive, considering he threw up on lap 15. Did you not know that?
Did he?
Yeah. He said on lap 15 he threw up, and he didn't even tell the team till the end. Which...
Ew!
Yeah, I know. And he still probably had about just under an hour left of racing.
Lap 15!
Yeah. So, considering that happened, and he felt
was that his first throw up?
I think it was his first and only throw up.
Oh my god!
But considering that, finishing seventh.
Where did he start?
He started eighth. So to hold that area, despite that,
to hold the position in his puke, he's done well.
This weekend, I'll tell you, so many.
I did not know that.
I
should have renamed it to the Sick Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's it. Eighth position. There you go. Valtteri Bottas. What a double points, as we said, for Alpha. About time. That car actually had some pace, given, compared to everyone else, it actually wasn't too bad. Well, Zhou, he was in the top 10 majority of the race, because we'll do back-to-back here. We'll do 8th and 9th with Zhou behind. They both drove quite well, and I think around after 10 laps in, Zhou actually was ahead of Bottas for a while there.
Yeah, and he was in front for a while.
Not to mention, Zhou started at the back of the grid.
Yeah, I think their tyre wear was what got them the edge. There wasn't actually that bad, which is ironic because their tyre wear for the whole year has been shocking.
And I think, I'm pretty sure it was him that took advantage of that safety car where he pitted on lap 2 or the restart or one of the two. He pitted extremely early. He's like one of the first ones to pit. So their strategy also paid off.
Yeah, right. And they both Alphas finished in front of Sergio Perez.
Indeed, and not a very great weekend for him. He got crashed out in the sprint race. Let me just switch over my notes here. I've got a new page.
I think he got crashed out. He caused a crash. Well, him and Ocon. Hulkenberg did nothing.
Well, Hulkenberg was just in the middle.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for him. But Yeah, but because of that, I think it was because of that, he actually had a component change, so he had to start from the pit lane. And then he
Yeah,
got
that's
a
whole wasn't his
penalty.
fault.
He was one of the ones who got a penalty for the track limits.
That
But
was early on too.
yeah, it was I've written it here.
Halfway, like halfway.
It was. I've written it down here somewhere.
Have you?
Yeah, lap 27. Got it.
Jeez.
So
That means he couldn't do it any more times, right?
I think he did it more than one. I don't know. A few drivers did it because I know Hulkenberg got a 15-second penalty altogether, and Lance, we'll get into him. Let's talk about him now.
I'll cut him some slack considering he passed out most time.
Yeah, that's it. He actually finished across the line in 9th, but because of the penalties, he said.
I didn't know that.
He dropped. According to him in his interview, he dropped down to 11th. He
had a bad weekend.
We say cut him some slack, but the way he acted in qualifying was just not on.
Oh, it was pathetic.
Especially if you aren't aware, what happened is he got knocked out in Q1, which
18th
isn't surprising. But the part was his reaction to it. He was so aggressive and just an arse about it, and he pushed his coach. Because if you saw the replay, the coach was actually telling him to go to the weight area, to be weighed, and he just shoved him. So, but apparently they're all good according to him. But still, it's not.
I wouldn't really trust many words that comes out of Lance.
No, it's not on. It's not good enough. Especially when kids are watching as well. Like, yeah, I understand passion and stuff, but it wasn't necessary.
That's what happens when Dad threatens to sell the team.
That's it. Maybe you should go to maybe you should go to tennis.
I hope he sells. Honestly, I hope he sells a team because
well, we all know.
I will very much doubt that Lance will be in that car if his dad sells a team.
Like his only good performance he had this year was when he had his broken wrist. Ever since then, he's just
wasn't that race one?
Yeah, and he actually did a good result for that. So since then, he hasn't proved that he's worthy of a Formula One seat, in my opinion.
No, I agreed.
And after this weekend, like, he doesn't deserve it. He's lost a lot of respect, in my opinion, personally. 12th, Pierre Gasly. He suffered from a hybrid management issue.
Yeah, he went backwards.
So there wasn't really much he could do. He also got a 15-second penalty in terms of track limits and stuff, which I think I've got that mixed around with Stroll. I don't know, but everyone got track limits pretty much.
Yeah.
But, no, not much you could do with that, unfortunately, with the engine issue.
Nope.
13th, Alex Albon. He drove quite well. He actually led a lap for the first time. I'm pretty sure it was his first time in career that he's led a lap in Formula One.
No, didn't he win one? No, he never won. Did he?
Won. He was he was close to get a podium, but then Hamilton spun him out one time.
Twice. But yeah, they did lead, and then that was just before the pit stops, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was literally the lap of.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he couldn't maintain what he had in the sprint because in the sprint he was electric. I think it was more the heat.
Yeah, that's it.
Definitely played a part.
But yeah, because he actually needed to get a mechanic to help him get out the car at the end.
I'm gonna catch up on these after race stories because there's a lot.
Yeah, and well, TikTok saved the day for me for that stuff.
Yeah, I don't use it
because that's how I found out Lance passed out. 14th, Kevin Magnussen. Yeah, no, I was thinking of his teammate. I don't have any notes for him. I don't really know what happened.
No,
to be honest,
they didn't have any pace all weekend.
No, it wasn't strong. And it's a typical result for Haas, unfortunately. 15th, Yuki Tsunoda. Bit of a disappointing weekend for AlphaTauri. Bit faster than his teammate.
Qualifying now, all right, as Yuki was 11th.
Yeah.
Back to Magnussen, he actually qualified second to last. So, Haas, no good. AlphaTauri, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. Obviously, they both went backwards.
He was in the points for a moment there.
Lawson gained a spot.
Towards the end, he just dropped.
Yeah.
Nico Hulkenberg, again, not really quick, but he also got a penalty at the start for hopping into Carlos Sainz's empty grid slot.
Did he?
Yeah, which in his opinion ruined his race. But if you think about it, if you look at it didn't ruin it that much, because if you look at Russell, he literally went from back 10 seconds, I think.
He still got lapped.
Yeah, but he would have finished there anyway, I reckon.
Yeah, it would have been there or maybe around his teammate.
And 17th, it's just last of the finishes, Liam Lawson. His first meh weekend, like I said.
Well, he probably struggled in the heat.
Oh yeah, but he did well. Everyone did well. I can't imagine how tough it would have been.
Yeah, 100%.
And
then first of the non-finishers, Logan Sargent just couldn't keep going.
He
was very sick.
He went off in the sprint race, so he had a horrible weekend anyway. But he actually retired because he wasn't feeling well. Apparently, he had a bug at the start of the weekend coming into it, so it must have caught up with him. Mixed with dehydration, doesn't mix well. But
I don't know how these guys did it, man.
Held on to 40 laps, did well.
Kudos to Logan for even getting in the car. If he was feeling sick beforehand and then attempted this god-awful race, yeah, hats off. And then last two, Lewis, obviously we're not happy to him. Had no rear wheel, so couldn't get out of the gravel.
Bit hard
to get out of there. Yeah. And then Carlos never started.
With a fuel leak issue, which is disappointing.
Really
he's
rare, man. Like for a driver to not start based on mechanical issues is because they would I'm assuming do millions of checks after every session, before every session, and it was just really random. Like I didn't actually know he was not starting until I turned the TV. I was like, oh, but they said, oh, Carlos is not starting. I'm like, why? Had to check Instagram to find out, but yeah, it was not good for his championship as well because he's very close with Charles, I believe.
No, he definitely would have finished probably around where Leclerc finished, if not maybe a little ahead, because he's had last couple of rounds he's been pretty decent. Consecutive points for the last few races. Of course, he got the win, in Singapore. So to get a not even start the race was a bit disappointing. Did he get points for the sprint? I can't remember.
Let me have a look.
Because I think it's only up to 8th, isn't it, that you get points?
Yeah, and he did. He finished 6th.
Oh, that's all right. At least he got some out of this weekend. But yeah, obviously not what they wanted. So overall, decent action. Good for the eyes. Not for the drivers, though.
No, good for us, not for them.
That's it. But they did a brilliant effort, so good on for them. But driver of the day or weekend, I'm going to give it to Oscar.
Yeah, no doubt.
I know we did that. I think we did that last time as well.
Well, he's improving, man. A rookie around, he won a sprint race around a track and qualified first for that as well, by the way. Then got a second in the race from 6th position, even though he got lucky at the start. But, he hasn't driven around Qatar before, ever.
No.
And, well, that's the same about Japan as well. Look, man, you can't give it to anyone else. On debut at a racetrack and has a win and a podium.
In his rookie year, too. And Lando is yet to get a win in both.
Yeah.
So
that's coming though. That is
coming. That will come. But
it could even come in next round.
Hopefully. You hear that, Max? Feel free to park up and let old buddy Lando get past. So
just take a break. Go home and see a family. You don't
even need to race anymore this year. You've already won.
Is Ricardo back this next race?
Yes, Ricardo is back. So
Cool. So
obviously,
put him in the Red Bull. Max, take a week off.
yeah,
Don't
that's
turn
it.
up.
That's it.
And then we'll see who really deserves
I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that. But
a win. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, obviously Lawson. Quick note of reminded that was his last Grand Prix of the year, and obviously not the way he wanted, but he did well for his small campaign. Let's get on with
definitely put himself in there. And after another bad weekend for Logan, obviously despite the sickness,
which wasn't his fault though this time around, but still
true.
At least
he's
he didn't
got
crash.
5 more races to prove himself.
That's it, and we're still yet to find out who will be taking that seat next year, whether it'll be him or someone else.
That's the last seat available, isn't it?
Yeah. But from the sounds of it, they do want to keep him.
Interesting.
So see how we go. But anyway, let's go with the top 10 in the championship standings. Would you like to do this one?
Sure. So Max Verstappen on top. Don't need to mention him. Sergio is now second, with that gap quietly coming down. He's now only 30 points in front of Lewis. Obviously, if Lewis hadn't turned in on his teammate, that would be smaller. But we'll see what happens in America. Fernando holds his 4th position after Ferrari didn't score many points on the weekend. Speaking of which, they're 5th and 6th, Carlos and Leclerc. That gap is now only 8 points, thanks to Carlos's fuel leak problem. And Charles's, where did he finish again? 5th. 7th in the standings. See, I can't believe they were saying 7th and 9th for McLaren. Yeah, they had such a bad start to the year that they're just trying to catch up.
Imagine if they started off with a good car.
Yeah, I know. They'd be up there with
sure.
Perez. Lando's in 7th on 136 points, which is only 9 behind Charles. And he's only 4 points in front of George Russell. So that battle's really close. I honestly think that Lando will pass both Ferraris, because he's, let me do some maths here, he's 9 points behind Charles and then a further 8 behind him.
It can happen.
Behind Carlos. Yeah, 100%. And another, I don't think Oscar can finish any higher than 9th. He's in 9th with 83 points. So
unless he wins every last 5 races, then maybe.
Yeah, 49-point difference between him and Russell.
It's a bit much in the Formula 1 world.
Yeah, for sure. And then somehow Lance Stroll is still 10th. He's only 1 point in front of Gasly, and then I do Ocon, who's 12th, and he's only 2 points behind Gasly. So
very close for
that's very close. And then I might as well keep going.
Go for it.
Huge chunk until Alex Albon, who's 13th with 23 points. My man Bottas is in 14th with 10 points now. Hulkenberg, 15th with 9. Zhou Guanyu jumps up a fair few spots. He's now 16th with 6 points. Yuki still on 3. Magnussen still on 3. Liam Lawson on 2. And then everyone else on 0.
Very good.
So the only real battles, sorry to cut you off, is 5th to 7th, 8th, and then 10th to 12th. And then obviously the second place with Hamilton and Perez.
Which, if I reckon Hamilton might be able to clinch if he doesn't crash into his teammate.
Yeah, well, he's been consistent.
Depends on how Perez goes. Yeah, that's it.
Well,
and Perez has been consistently doing crap.
Yeah, based on last races.
That's it.
Perez should show up in Mexico, though. You'd hope.
Well, he'll have that energy, that vibe, which always boosts can boost performance. And didn't he win there? I swore he won there last year or the year before.
I don't think he's won there before. I could be wrong.
I feel like he had, unless maybe it was I'm thinking the podium.
Time to search. I can't spell Mexican correctly because I'm using one hand. We need some searching.
while you do that, I'll get into the constructors' standings. I'll just do the top 5. We've got Red Bull leading the way still. Once again, obviously they've won the constructors, so they're not going to go any lower. Mercedes is second with a pretty decent margin from Red Bull. Ferrari is still third despite Carlos's retirement, not starting, but also in saying that Hamilton didn't get any points either. Fourth, Aston Martin still keep their place for now, but McLaren in fifth are only 11 points behind. So I reckon if, let's say, they get another consecutive podium and Lance doesn't score any points, they will definitely get them by the end of the year. How are you going with the result? Any luck?
Yep, got some. No, got it. They've actually had the same podium 2 years in a row.
Yeah?
It's been Max, Lewis, and Perez.
Yeah, right. Because I just remember, all I remember is Max's dad being his reaction to it.
You mean Perez's dad?
What did I say?
Max.
Oh, it's quite the opposite. Sorry. Oh, let's not get into that. Ooh.
Yeah, Perez's dad was treated like a championship win, and he just came third.
Yeah, so that's why I thought he won, because I just remember his reaction.
No, it would be nice. It'd be pretty cool if they react so hard over third. Then, boy, what happens if he wins?
Despite
but let's see if he can improve in America first, because
that's it.
It's been a while since he's been on the podium.
It has, I think? No, I don't even remember. But that was all this weekend. Overall, pretty decent and hot at the same time. But yeah, in a couple of weeks, we've got at least 2 weeks until the Austin Grand Prix. Curious to see how Ricciardo goes, given it's his first comeback again, his second comeback in Formula 1.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Hopefully he just has a smooth weekend. That's all he really needs to get back into. Obviously, he's got a seat for next year, so he's not fighting for anything at the moment.
That'll give him some confidence, make him comfortable.
Yeah, 100%. I think that obviously we don't know what's wrong with this car. Like 1 week it's really good, and then 1 week it's at the back. So
that's it. But
let's just hopefully he finishes all the races.
Fingers crossed. But yeah. So in terms of what's happening with Let's Talk Motorsport. I don't think we'll do anything next week. Of course, what day is it? I'm just having a look. Schedule.
Supercar.
Okay.
They're on the same weekend.
No, they're the weekend before.
No.
Because Mexico's on that weekend. So we've got a week break, and then we go to United States the following weekend. So we'll do a debrief video for that. But on the same week, we'll do the Gold Coast preview. And then the following week, we'll do the Mexican review as well as the Gold Coast review. And then I think we've got Brazil after that as well. So we've got quite a busy few weeks coming up. So I think this week off will be decent.
Yeah. Well, we've got a lot more F1 than Supercars.
That's it. We've only got 2 left for Supercars. So, but in saying that, though, we do have a lot in between those 2 races for Supercars. These once a week races coming up. But that's all from us. All our socials and stuff are actually below us right now. Alex's is there and mine's here. But you can also, for all your audio listeners, you can check out us at DanielEccel35 on Instagram and Alex_Spinoz. As well as on Twitch, follow Alex on Alex Spinozzi Sim Racing, or one word. Instagram, Alex Spinozzi _sim_racing, same as Facebook. And if you want to check out the Let's Talk Motorsport official page, check out Let's Talk.motorsport on Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify and YouTube, and Let's Talk Supercars on Facebook. I couldn't get the handle. So
a lot of plugs there, man. You did very good.
A lot of plugs. I forgot about our audio listeners. They couldn't actually see the screen. So
that's true. Yeah, good point.
But all those will be in the show notes and description anyway, if you want to check them out. But any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, just keen for a week off. Just for a little bit of a break. It's been a bit hectic, but yeah, they went back into the action. Like, what is it? 4 rounds of F1 all back to back, right?
That's it, with a couple supercars in between.
Yeah, killer.
So
get excited.
That's it. We've got only 3 months of the year. Still a lot of action left to run, which means more content left for us. So anyway, that's all from us. We'll catch you next time for the Mexican Grand Prix review. Bye for now.